Okay, so this is a very important session and it's on, of course, the birth of an entrepreneur's mindset. Now, the reason I can speak on this, it's not because I watched some YouTube video or read a book. I am well read. I have listened to a lot of people, a lot of successful entrepreneurs. But the reason I'm actually sharing this with you and showcasing it is because I've been through it. I've started entrepreneurship 4 years ago. Almost 5 years into it. I've grown a lot of businesses. I've made a lot of systems. I've made a lot of money online. And the whole reason I'm actually sharing this is just to let you know how the mindset operates and why only the 1% succeed. So the main reason that only 1% succeed is the drawing's not too great, but 99% of people's brains are not wired the same. So if you're watching this, there's a high chance that you're part of the 1% mindset because you've actually envisioned yourself being successful and you're on the way to achieving it. So you're actually working towards that goal. And a lot of people don't have that because their brains are wired on survival. So what this means is that their brain's wired for comfort. It's wired to avoid danger is the most important one. So it's wired to avoid discomfort, and that is why people don't start business because it's uncomfortable, gives them anxiety. If you're scared of public speaking, your belief systems are going to alter and your mind's going to work in a way to actually prevent you from ever reaching that stage. So that means you don't even have a chance of being successful, because if you don't envision yourself on a main event speaking to a lot of people, your belief systems won't actually take you to that goal. Now, fair enough, people may want to be successful with privacy, so anonymity, but that is something different. So that's not actually something I can talk on because I don't experience it. My vision is to be a public speaker, to speak in front of thousands, if not millions. And because I'm actually ready for it and I want to be in that position, my mindset, it's not driven on survival. I know it's going to be uncomfortable. I know that it's going to give me anxiety, but my brain is wired on growth. And that is exactly what the 1% mindset is. Rather than being wired on survival, if you can see this, it is wired on growth. So rather than you avoiding danger, avoiding discomfort, you actually like it. You're out there to make a killing. You're out there to put yourself in uncomfortable positions because you've understood that to get anywhere in life, you've got to go through pain. And that's what most people don't understand. Now, one example I can give that actually creates an entrepreneur's mindset is trauma. So if you've been through some trauma in your life, to give you an example of what your life would look like, so if it goes on an average frequency, so you've got your ups, you've got your downs, obviously, trauma hits, you hit the bottom. So you're at peak, you've got dark thoughts, everything's there, the trauma has really impacted you. Physics, what goes up must come down. This is where the growth mindset comes from. Once you've hit a rock bottom and you've realized it's the rock bottom, that's when you're actually primed to scale and grow. And a lot of people will never actually experience this. And some people say they're lucky if you don't experience trauma. In my eyes, you're very unlucky because you've never experienced such a bottom to actually scale upwards. So that is why trauma can create the growth mindset. And just know that if you're here, there's a high chance that you do have a growth mindset because what I do, you most likely either came from the YouTube algorithm, which at this point is early, so it is actually unlikely is what I meant, but most likely came from my Instagram. Now on my Instagram, I do coach how to create a business entirely for free, and I coach my own system. It's not here to sell you, it's just to let you know that you actually came through and found me on here because you've had an interest in starting a business, and that is not normal. It's very rare for someone to just want to start a business because unless you think it's a quick rich scheme, which guarantee if you think anything's a quick rich scheme and you can get rich quick, you will fail. And that's just a fact because business is a long-term game. You actually have to understand that it's pain, it's work, it's anxiety. You have to get through it to actually reach a new level of high. But what I want now, the main reason I'm actually doing this video is for you to understand once you've got a success mindset. So where can I put it? once your brain is actually primed on success, just know that that's not it. That is level 1. Congratulations, you've just achieved level 1 because you want to start an online business, you don't think like anyone else. But just know that that is only level 1. Your journey has just begun. So to actually maintain this mindset and make sure that you keep it, because there will be days where you wake up, and I can tell you because I've experienced it many times, there'll be days you wake up and you feel lazy. You don't feel like going anywhere. And that is all down to, of course, resistance. So what resistance is anything that actually drags you away from the goal. So the devil on your shoulder and the angel on your shoulder. Part of you wants to succeed, part of you wants to grow, part of you wants to self-destroy. Now the self-destruction part comes from trauma initially. The same trauma that actually made you want to start growing, that same trauma is going to want to defeat you and bring you back to your original position. So to actually get from person A, which is your current self, to person B, which is your successful self, it's a very long journey, and during this journey there will be a lot of push and pull. You're going to be pretty much ripping your identity in half, because half of you is going to think that what am I doing, this isn't for me, I like comfort, I need to go back to my old self. Part of you is going to be thinking, I've got family, I've got support people, I've got to strive forward. And the goal is to reach person B. You have to change your whole identity, and that of course comes down to your mindset. And the longer you can cherish a successful mindset, the more your brain's actually going to forget who person A was. So the more you sustain your successful identity in person B, the more person A is going to dwindle. So it's going to become a little man, and then eventually you just keep smashing it, keep growing a business, you will become person B. And of course, person B is a successful business owner. So you've got a business, you know how to operate, you know how to work, you know how to focus. And of course, just know that you're going to be doing this quite a lot. So the more you grow, if you don't like being comfortable, you're going to grow through so many identities, and each identity is going to come with something more valuable. So person B, for example, business owner. So let's just do biz owner. And person C, let's say public speaker. So public speaker. So to get from person B to person C is going to be equally as difficult. So you're going to be going back and forth because the anxiety is going to be the same. Although you want to grow, you're scared of public speaking, so you're always going to go back. But if you know how to cherish a successful mindset and cherish growth, you're always going to be going forward and evolving. And that is how you switch through identity. So business is all about being able to change, being malleable, and that's exactly how you're going to achieve. So of course, this is endless. Any progress you get, unless you're comfortable with 10k a month, you can stay at 10k a month, but if you're actually driven and you want 100k a month, you're going to have to change identity. It's a whole new identity to be a 10k 6-figure earner to a 7-figure earner. And of course, it's the same from 7 to 8. So your identity always has to change. And how you do that, you got to envision your brain as, let's say, so what example can I give? Let's say crops. So your brain is a farm of carrots. Now, of course, it is a weird metaphor, but I'll explain how it looks. So it's always going to grow. So the first carrot, let's say your mindset has just come to realization, you want to grow, you want to succeed. Now, anything you add to your farm, your mindset farm, that is, like any knowledge. So let's say this is info on staying consistent. So you've read a book about consistency, you've understood it, you've now added another crop to your farm. So that farm is expanded. Let's say another one, so focus, you've now added the focus carrot, so you're now focused. And let's give it another one, so let's just say a system, let's say ads. So you've learned ads. So what that does, any business system or principle you learn, it's actually going to make you confident, which is what grows your mindset, because you've just learned something, you've tried it, it works, it's going to boost you, and of course it's going to add to your farm. Now these will be endless, so any info you get, this is why books, listening to people is so important, coaching, mentorship. This is your farm, this is your mindset, and it's going to keep growing. And the whole point of me actually using a metaphor as a farm is because resistance, if we mark resistance here, what's actually going to stop you and break you down is, very creative I am, this is, doesn't even look like it, this is a locust. So a locust is going to come, it's going to destroy your mindset, it's going to destroy the farm you've built of all this information, all this knowledge to grow. The locust, its main aim, being resistance, is to destroy it, is to make you, of course, go back from person B back to person A. The whole strive behind resistance, which is the traumatized part of yourself, is to bring you back to person A, which is your original identity, because the brain is more comfortable with person A. The brain is happier with person A because it knows that person A has survived situations. It knows person A has survived in the past, and that's why it wants to maintain person A. But if your mindset is woke and you're actually putting pressure on your brain, putting work on it, then you're less likely to go back to person A. You're more likely to grow and succeed. But resistance will always try to push you. Now resistance, let's say a locust here, can be, let's say, alcohol. So alcohol is one of the worst things you can have if you're trying to build a business, because first order consequence, you're going to have a few days where you're hungover, you're going to have a week where you don't feel the same, you feel sluggish, you got brain fog, you're tired. Second order consequence, you're going to be more likely to drink again. So it's an addiction, and what most people always see is first order consequence, which is what I'm going to be hungover for a few days. What they don't see is that you're more likely to drink and drink and drink throughout the month, and that's going to set you back minimum a year. So that's exactly what I realized early. This is why everything I cut out. So let's say another locust, just to give you more examples, is, let's say, porn. So another locust that wants to destroy your farm is porn, a very big one as well, because you will wake up, you'll have nothing to do, or you'll feel bored and you'll watch porn. It's going to mess with your head. It's going to, let's say if this locust does actually reach a crop, so it's reached ads, it's reached focus, it has just demolished your farm. So your mindset is now split in half by this locust. So the locust, which is resistance, which was porn, has just prevented you from succeeding because it's actually infiltrated your mindset. And if you envision this, if you truly understand this, you'll start to notice this. Every time some resistance will come in, like you're too sluggish to get out of bed, you don't want to do this, you're scared, you're anxious, that's a locust, that is resistance. And what I've done here is I just gave you a visionary example of how it works, and this is what helped me understand it, because resistance is hard to spot. Resistance knows you better than you know yourself. It's going to know how to destroy you and go back to person A. But if you notice resistance in the form of a locust trying to destroy your mindset farm, it's going to help you. And this is exactly what helped me. This is something I've come up with. No one has actually ever told me this. I've known about resistance. I've known about identity shifts. And of course, I know the difference between a success mindset and a standard human mindset. But this is something I've actually created. I've given you now a visual of how it works. So if you are on your way to be starting entrepreneurship, building a business, always know that resistance is there to set you back. Resistance can be anything, and it can come in all forms. You can be working, all of a sudden you think to yourself, oh, I've done some work. Let's watch a YouTube video. Let's watch a Netflix show. I've done enough work. That is resistance. That is a locust. That is something that's actually out there to destroy your mindset, destroy your future. And the more thought you give to it, so if you actually direct your brain power to resistance. If you think about it over and over again on repeat, this swarm of locusts is going to grow until it comes to a point. So let's say times 10 just appeared. So this could be any form of resistance. So drugs, going out, nights out, anything, fear, anxiety, any other form, literally anything like Snapchat, TikTok. It's all resistance. It's anything that your brain thinks of to actually bring you back to person A, which is who you were, which is your comfortable self. Because your comfortable self survived for so long, of course, your brain wants to maintain person A. It does not want to grow. It does not want to go to person B. So your brain's going to create a lot of resistance. Always think of them as locusts, and always think of them trying to destroy your crop, which is your growth mindset. So the whole goal for you now as a starting entrepreneur is to cultivate this mindset crop. So I'm not going to draw every single carrot out, but just say there's times 5 on information. So this is everything you learn. So any new book, any new video you've learned, you've watched, you've now planted a crop. Now let's say another one. So this is another crop plane, times 5 of these, and it will be discipline. So I'm probably confusing this now, but it's just if you understand the first principle, which is what locusts are resistance are there to destroy, you'd understand this as well. So your crop is going to have a lot of lanes. It's going to have your info. So any bit of information you get is going to plant a carrot. Discipline. So anything you learn about discipline, learn how to control yourself, is going to plant a carrot. That's going to get stronger and stronger. And let's just say as well, so just goals. So any goals that you have, goals are there to actually bring vision to your initial mindset. So if your mind envisions a goal, it's going to stay in your head. It's going to stay in your head. It's going to alter your belief systems. And the more goals you have, the more carrots you're going to plant. Of course, the harder it will be for resistance to get to you. So that's pretty much it on the lesson on mindset. If you've completed this video, congratulations. You are now aware of resistance. You know what resistance is. Resistance is there to take you from person B, which is your growing self, back to person A, which is who you were. So if you're an idiot, if you went on nights out, if you were just comfortable in your position, if you just ate junk food, if you did not want to do much, that's person A, that's who you were. And because something happened and that made you want to shift to person B and become successful, that's abnormal, and it happens to a select few. So if you have that, your goal is now to maintain this crop. Now I could have actually used different color pens to help you understand, but yeah, just know that this crop needs to be maintained, it needs to be cherished, and the whole point is that you need to work on your mindset long term. It's not here, it doesn't just snap like this and you're successful. It's always gonna want to revert back to person A. But the more crops you plant, the more you notice resistance, locusts, and you ignore them, you don't pursue them, the more likely you are to succeed. So shift to person B. So that is literally it. I hope you do understand this. I hope you've actually listened carefully. You can rewatch this video, of course, but just know that if you're seeing this video, you have a vision not many people do. Your goal now is just to maintain it, and that's what's going to be the biggest struggle, because resistance is going to come in very heavy, and the longer you don't experience it, the harder it will hit. But what you got to realize is resistance will get weaker over time. The more you ignore it, the more you shift to person B, resistance will disappear. Like me now, I don't get excited by many things like I used to. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, nothing like that. Nothing actually stimulates me more than business now, more than growth. And that's because I've been through some terrible days where I've woken up, I really wanted to quit, but I kept pushing. And because I've tackled resistance so many times, it's gone. I've gotten rid of it, and I'm now a fully grown person, and well on the way now to just cherish the mindset I currently have and go from person B to person C, which is a 7-figure earner. So I don't even know if you can see that from the screen, but 7-figure earner is person C, which is what I'm trying to get to now. So all I need to do is cultivate this further. Resistance is always going to bring me back to person B, because being a 7-figure earner is a lot harder to reach than being a 6-figure earner. But my goal is to cultivate this further and achieve it, and that I will. And I want to help as many people as possible on the way. So this is why I'm going to be sharing a few of these videos. These aren't just something I read. These aren't just something I watched. This is what I've experienced, and I've put into some visuals for you to understand as well. So take care. This is the end of the video. Of course, no cuts, raw footage. I hope this helps. If any questions do arise, my Instagram is Hustle of Artists. So any questions about mindset, I've been through it, just message me on there. All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.